What's up guys, and welcome back to another EVE Online video. Today New Eden and the Empires of New Eden are in the grips of a crisis. The Drifters have invaded all the Empires of New Eden, and including not limited to the Deathless. So what does this mean? We have a new event. It's the Drifter Crisis. It's in the patch notes and has been all over the launcher if you haven't seen it yet. But there, in the patch notes we've got new event sites and things to run, but very little detail on how you can run them and what the rewards are and so on. Each site is different and requires different levels of teamwork and strategy and stuff, of course. And as they mention here, you do need specific roles to be successful. So it is more of a fleet event than other ones, which is quite exciting, quite cool. But if you want to find out about it in game, you basically you go into the opportunities window. This is the first time I believe event sites have gone into the opportunities, and within in here on the left hand side there is interstellar events. Click that and all the opportunities for the current interstellar events, which is this kind of new category here, will appear. And so for now it's all the Drifter Crisis stuff. And so you can see that there's kind of a couple of Drifter Crisis systems per empire, and they are all spawn in high sec or low sec. So the closest one to Jita is this one in Hutakan, which is a Caldari one, of course, and unsurprisingly it's because it's close to Jita, some progress is being made on it. The other one that's got a lot of progress made is Niramar in Rauran, but there's ones in Galente and Minmatar and things as well, if you find that it's being run too frequently in your system. But if you want to find out more, you click on it and it'll open up what is going on in that system for the event. One thing I just want to note is the timer. I've not seen any information in the patch notes or in the scope article about how long the event is going to last and what this timer means. But there is a timer. It was 5 days from the start of the event, so we've got 4 days left. What I'm speculating is we have that many days to run the influence up to 100%, and at which point it might move system. So this event might move into a system close to Hutakan or another random Caldari high-sec system, but I don't know that for sure. It seems unlikely the entire event will end in 4 days from now, but it is what it is, and don't know what's going to happen when we hit 100% influence either. But you get a brief description about what's going on. Basically, Drifters are invading, and there are a few different types of site available in the system to run to support them. Let's run that back over. Site exploration types, anomalies and signatures, so they will spawn as both. And if I flick back to the patch notes, these are the various site types, and they will spawn as different versions. So Crisis Field Rescue is an anomaly that you can just warp to. Observatory Infiltration is a signature that needs scanning, and these two are both also anomalies that you can just warp to. This fifth one only spawns kind of at the end of a crisis, so there won't be any yet in the game. So I don't know if they are signatures or anomalies. This video is going to focus on the Crisis Field Rescue. I ran a couple last night with a courtmate, but do what you can to find information about the others. I might do an Observatory Infiltration one because it seems to be, if you're very, very careful, soloable, but does they bring up to 2 other capsules to maximize rewards. The information here is important. Salvage the wreckage left behind following an Empire assault on a Drifter facility. Salvage is the optimal word there. The whole purpose of the site is to complete salvaging, but it is recommended that at least 3 capsuleers tackle this rescue mission. But you can only bring T1 frigates or T1 destroyers. What we settled on as a comp, and we'll see in a second, is 2 T1 of Logi, and a couple of destroyers to salvage. There are rats, and I'll go into more detail on that in just a few minutes. The other interesting thing is deep flow rifts. These were about quite a long time ago during I think it was during the first Triglavian invasion. Deep flow rifts spawned. So they're back, and it sounds like kind of, essentially the same thing, except they've made them harder and more lucrative. So go and explore those as well, and if I get the opportunity, I will of course do a video. But yes, so I guess without further ado, I will load up the footage from when I ran it last night with a friend of mine. Okay, and so we're warping into site now. For this particular one, this is the, as mentioned, the Crisis Field Rescue. All of them are behind acceleration gates, so if you warp in, you're not at risk of just being instantly blapped. For this particular run, we're testing it with 3 Logi and 2 destroyers, but that is overkill. So basically we've got Bantams and Thrashers, but my recommendation is actually not to run it with Thrashers, and I'll go into that. But you can see rats when you land, and you can see a whole bunch of wrecks. So the rats all there is a remote rep, and they have a pretty decent range on all of them. As you'd expect from a lot of different events, the rats have different names depending on what they do. So in this case, the enervating rats, frigates and destroyers, they newt. The soothing peltast, or soothing anything, they remote rep. And I think stirring is just DPS, I believe. But the remote reps from 1 soothing frigate is enough to sustain the DPS coming from 2 destroyers. So this particular wave is okay because you can take out the remote rep one, but sometimes you get a couple of them spawn, and if you get 3 of them, I think you'd be in a bit of bother. However, you don't have to take them out. There's enough. If you've got 2 frigates, 2 Bantams, there's enough Logi to keep you alive through the incoming DPS. But so what you actually have to do is go through and salvage the wrecks that you can see on grid. They are specific ones. They say they've got loot, but you can't loot them. And obviously the drifters, when you kill them, don't have loot, so you can just kind of ignore those. You'll see a spawn on the left that there is you've got targets for the site. There are 18 wrecks that need to be salvaged, and you have 20 minutes to do it. Now I just want to mention on that 20-minute thing, there might be 1 or 2 bugs in the event at this stage. If you read up on the site information in the opportunities window, it says there's 10 minutes, but there's a 20-minute timer. I'm not sure which is supposed to be correct. Hopefully they are the real timer, but just be aware that things might change as the event goes on, because also 20 minutes is a long time for this. We ran a few last night and they didn't take more than 10. What we would recommend moving forward, probably the optimal comp is going to be 2 T1 Logi. They could be Bantams or something else. You want to make them cap stable because of the newt pressure, and then 1 probably Cormorant, something you can fit a lot of salvages to. You don't need to take out the rats as mentioned, but they do have a reasonable bounty on them. But salvages take up a lot of CPU, so on a Thrasher 2 is the maximum salvages you can fit and still put a little bit of tank on there. So as you can see though, we just fly around and salvage all of them. And with 2 destroyers on deck, the site goes down pretty quickly. This is what I'm showing right now. Time to complete 10 minutes listed there, but obviously you've got 20 minutes in reality. The rats do respawn. We did test that as well. After a while, another wave will spawn if you've been killing some. So again, doesn't up to you. And they do keep good range. So again, with the Thrashers, even using barrage, I've only got a 12 kilometer fall off. But the rats all hold, when they're aggressing you, they hold 16, 17 kilometer range at least. So just bear that in mind if you do want to try and take them out. But the technique we've taken is just head over to a wreck, orbit it, salvage it, and have your 2 Logi keep you alive. Now, why would you not just bring more like we have here? And the payout scales. So when you complete the site, there is just a fixed fee payout, similar to, I think, Homefront Operations, but most similar to Incursions. You just get a payout when the site despawns. When we had 4 capsules in sight, we got 7.5 million each for a total payout of 30 million. So we had 2 Logi, 2 destroyers. When there were 5 on site, we got 3.75 million each. So a total of something like 17.5 million. So quite a big reduction because we had the extra capsuleer in there. From the patch notes, it seems to suggest you need 3. So it's possible that, we haven't tested it yet, but it's possible if you run with just 3 toons, you get a bigger payout. So that's why I'm recommending a formation of 2 Logi and probably a Cormorant. And then don't worry about taking out the rats. I mean, the one I've got highlighted at the moment is 125,000. Not to be sniffed at. So shoot them while you're going about your business, but don't waste the time to take them out when you could be running the site. And to be honest, with this one, that's kind of all there is to it. There's only so much you can do with your fit. The ships have to be T1, and the incoming DPS isn't huge, so the Logi are able to keep themselves alive. Our Bantams, even when we were just running 2 Bantams, they took aggro quite a lot. One thing to bear in mind though is there are system effects in place. You can see down next to where it says I've got remote shield coming in. Those effects include a 15% shield reduction across shield resists across the board reduction. So you do bear that in mind when you're trying to work out how to tank this site if you're not going to come with some decent Logi. The other option, I guess, is you could just come with like 3 Cormorants and just hope to blitz it as fast as you can, but the wrecks are quite spread out at a range of total coverage is sort of like 50 to 60 kilometers, so you do have to move between them. There's very few that you can do simultaneously, so having more salvages is more about having to being able to place more salvage on the single wreck to increase your chances of getting it in the first couple of cycles. What you get from the wrecks, you can see in my cargo holds, are these military stasis pods. No idea what they're for or what they're worth or anything at the moment. As mentioned, the payout of the site is immediate and is in ISK, so I'm not sure what the purpose of these military stasis pods are, whether you need to turn them in somewhere at some point. If I find out, I will of course let you know. And so with that, guys, just while we wrap up and do the last 4 sites, I will just, if you've made it this far through the video, I will now introduce you to a giveaway as a thank you for sticking with it. Just drop a comment below with your in-game name and whether you're going to have a crack at any of the event sites, and you'll be entered in for a skin draw. We've got several partner skins to give away now, particularly the new medium miasma line, but of course several of the legacy scope syndication skin lines. And I'll send you a list if you are successful of which ones you can pick from. So with that, thanks very much for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Enter the giveaway and subscribe to the channel, because I'll be trying to bring a couple more videos on this event in the coming days. See you all in the next one. Cheers.